Welcome, friends. It's good to spend this time together. Welcome from all of us at He Is Risen Ministries. Your support by subscribing and giving a thumbs up helps us keep creating videos that inspire and equip those seeking a deeper walk with the Lord. Today we're going to talk about one of the simplest pictures Jesus ever gave, and yet it carries a powerful message for every believer. It's the parable often called the lamp under a basket. You'll find it in Matthew 5:14-16, Mark 4:21-25, and Luke 8:16-18. Listen to the heart of what Jesus said. In Matthew we read, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." Now imagine hearing those words in the first century. The people listening to Jesus did not live in homes with electricity. There were no light switches, no street lamps, no glowing screens. When the sun went down, darkness came quickly. Most homes had a small clay oil lamp. It was simple, just a shallow bowl with a small wick. Olive oil was poured into it. The wick soaked up the oil. Then the wick was lit. The flame was small. But in a dark house, even a small flame made a big difference. Often that lamp would be placed on a stand or a small shelf on the wall. The higher the lamp sat, the more the light spread through the room. Everyone in the house depended on that light. You needed it to eat your meal, to talk with family, to see where you were walking. Without the lamp, the room would be completely dark. Now think about the picture Jesus painted. He said no one lights a lamp and then hides it under a basket. That would make no sense. A basket in that time was often a woven container used for grain or food. If you covered a lamp with it, the light would disappear. The flame might even go out, and the whole purpose of lighting the lamp would be lost. Everyone listening to Jesus would have nodded. Of course, you don't hide a lamp, you put it where it can shine. That simple everyday experience is what made the lesson so powerful. Jesus was speaking about people. More specifically, he was speaking about those who follow him. You are the light of the world. Notice something important. Jesus did not say you should try to become light. He said you are the light. That's a statement of identity. When someone begins to follow Christ, something changes inside them. The truth of God begins to live within them. In John 8:12, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life." So the light begins with him, but then it shines through his followers. Think about the moon for a moment. The moon has no light of its own. It simply reflects the light of the sun. In the same way, believers reflect the light of Christ. We are not the source, but we are the reflection, and the world around us can see that light. Jesus also said something interesting. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. In the ancient world, cities were often built on hills for protection. At night, when lamps were lit inside homes, the glow of the city could be seen from miles away. Travelers in the darkness could look toward the hill and see where life was, where safety was, where people were gathered. Jesus used that image to describe believers living openly for God. Our lives become visible, not because we are trying to impress anyone, but because light naturally shines. Then Jesus says something that brings it home. Let your light so shine before men. Notice what he did not say. He did not say, show off your goodness. He said, let your light shine so people may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. The goal is not attention for ourselves. The goal is that people see God. Now let's slow down and bring this into our own time, because the message of this parable is just as important today as it was 2,000 years ago. In many ways, our world is still full of darkness. There is confusion, division, fear, loneliness, people searching for purpose, searching for hope. Some people have money but feel empty. Some people have success but feel lost. Some people appear strong on the outside but are struggling inside. And into that world, Jesus says the same words. You are the light of the world. Think about that. You might feel ordinary. You might feel like your life is small, but Jesus says your life can shine in ways you may never fully see. Let me give you a simple modern example. Imagine you walk into a dark room. The room is completely black. Then someone lights a single candle. Suddenly the darkness is pushed back, not completely, but enough that people can see, they can move, they can find their way. One small light changes everything. That's the power of even a small act of kindness, a gentle word, an honest life, a moment of patience, a person living with integrity. Light spreads, and light influences everything around it. Let's talk about some everyday ways this parable shows up in modern life. Picture a workplace. Maybe it's an office. Maybe it's a warehouse. Maybe it's a construction site. Everyone there has pressures, deadlines, stress. Sometimes gossip spreads. Sometimes tempers flare. But there's one person who refuses to join the negativity. They treat people with respect. They stay honest even when no one is watching. They help others succeed. They speak calmly when others argue. That person is shining light, not loudly, not dramatically, just consistently. Over time, people notice. They begin to trust that person. They feel safe around them. That's a lamp on a stand. Now think about a family setting. Maybe there's tension in the household. Maybe people are tired. Maybe misunderstandings happen. But one person chooses patience. They listen instead of reacting. They forgive instead of holding grudges. They encourage instead of criticizing. Again, that's light shining. And light changes the atmosphere of a room. Let's look at another modern picture, social media. Today, millions of conversations happen online every hour, but often those conversations become harsh. Arguments escalate quickly. People say things they would never say face to face. But imagine someone who uses their voice differently. They speak with kindness. They offer encouragement. They share truth without attacking. They respond with calmness. That is light shining in a digital world. Even something as small as a thoughtful message can brighten someone's day. You never know who might read it at exactly the right moment. Sometimes shining light simply means living with consistency. People notice when someone lives what they believe. For example, imagine someone who claims to follow Christ but behaves exactly like everyone else. Angry, dishonest, self-centered. That lamp is hidden. But when someone's life reflects patience, humility, and love, the light becomes visible. The Apostle Paul described this kind of life in Philippians 2:15. He said believers should be blameless and harmless, children of God without fault in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Notice again that language, shine as lights. The early Christians understood this. In the first century, believers often lived in difficult environments. They faced persecution, misunderstanding, sometimes even violence. But they still chose to live differently. They cared for the sick, they helped the poor, they showed compassion, and people noticed the light stood out in the darkness. Now here's something else Jesus hinted at in the parable. A lamp can be hidden, not because it loses its light, but because something covers it. Sometimes the same thing happens to people. Fear can cover our light. We worry about what others might think. We hesitate to speak about our faith. We stay silent when an opportunity appears. Other times, busyness covers the light. Life gets full. Work, responsibilities, schedules. And without realizing it, we stop paying attention to how we influence others. Sometimes compromise covers the light. We begin to blend in with the crowd. We lower our standards, and the brightness of our example fades. But Jesus reminds us of the purpose. The lamp belongs on a stand. It was meant to shine. That means our faith was never meant to stay private. It's personal, but it's not hidden. Think about how light works in the real world. Light does not argue with darkness. Light simply appears, and darkness disappears. That's how influence works. You don't always need a long speech. Sometimes the most powerful testimony is a consistent life, a calm spirit, a generous heart, a forgiving attitude. Those things speak loudly. Let me give you another modern example. Imagine a hospital room. Someone is going through a difficult illness. The future feels uncertain. Visitors come and go. But one person enters the room with quiet peace. They listen carefully. They offer comfort. They pray gently. Their presence alone brings calm. That's light shining. And often people remember those moments for the rest of their lives. Another example, picture a teacher in a classroom. Students come from many backgrounds. Some carry heavy burdens at home. But that teacher treats every student with dignity. They notice the quiet student. They encourage the struggling one. They celebrate small victories. Those students feel seen. They feel valued. That's light shining. Or imagine a neighbor, someone who notices when others need help. They bring a meal during a difficult time. They check in with an elderly neighbor. They offer a ride when someone needs one. Again, that's light. Small actions, big impact. And here's the beautiful part. When light spreads, it multiplies. One act of kindness inspires another. One encouraging word lifts someone, who then lifts someone else. Before long, the light travels farther than you ever expected. This is why Jesus connected good works with glorifying God. When people see genuine goodness, they often begin asking deeper questions. Why is that person so patient? Why are they so generous? Why do they remain calm when others panic? And those questions open the door to talk about faith, not in a forced way, but in a natural way. Now, there's another part of this teaching found in Mark and Luke. Jesus says something fascinating. In Mark 4:24-25, he says, "Take heed what you hear. With the same measure you use, it will be measured to you, and to you who hear, more will be given." Then he says, "For whoever has, to him more will be given. But whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken away." That may sound confusing at first, but here's the idea. When someone responds to truth, more understanding follows. Light leads to more light. But when someone ignores truth, the light grows dim. Think of it like learning. When you practice what you learn, your skills grow. But when you ignore what you learn, the knowledge fades. The same is true spiritually. When we live out what Jesus teaches, our lives grow brighter. Our faith deepens, our influence expands. But if we hide it, the impact shrinks. So the question becomes very personal. Where is your lamp today? Is it on a stand or under a basket? Maybe you've been shining brightly, helping others, encouraging people, living faithfully. If so, keep going. You may not realize how many lives you are touching, or maybe you've felt hesitant lately. Maybe fear or discouragement has crept in. If that's the case, remember something important. Light does not need to be perfect to shine. Even a small flame pushes back darkness. Even a quiet act of kindness matters. And God often uses ordinary people in extraordinary ways. And the world does not need more noise. It needs more light, more patience, more honesty, more compassion, more people willing to live what they believe. Imagine what would happen if thousands of people decided to live this parable intentionally. Neighborhoods would change, workplaces would change, families would change, and hearts would begin to open, because light has a way of guiding people home. That's really what Jesus was inviting his followers to do. Not to withdraw from the world, but to shine within it, to live in such a way that people see something different, something hopeful, something real. And when people ask why, we gently point them back to the source, the one who is the true light of the world. So today, wherever you are watching from, think about the spaces where your light can shine. Your home, your job, your community, your conversations, your quiet moments of kindness. You don't need a spotlight. You just need willingness, a lamp on a stand, shining where it was meant to shine. And remember this, even when you feel unnoticed, light is still working, seeds are still being planted, hearts are still being touched. God sees every moment, every word, every choice to live with love. So keep shining, one conversation at a time, one decision at a time, one act of kindness at a time, because the light of Christ is too beautiful to hide. Thank you for spending this time with us today. Got a question you'd like us to explore in a future video? Drop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. For now, rest in the knowledge that the one who loved you first has already prepared a place for you in his eternal family, and may his voice ring clearly and powerfully this very day.